Hi everyone, Amber here. Welcome back to In Conversation with ATF on a very hot day here. We have been having a heat wave over here, so I'm absolutely sweating. But there's no time to sweat because the guest I'm talking to today is a very important guest. You may know her as a voice director, a casting director. She's worked for many companies such as Nickelodeon, Disney, DreamWorks. She's been the voice director on shows such as Robot and Monster, Bravest Warriors, Pig, Goat, Banana, Cricket, Rainbow Butterfly Uniform Kitty, It's Pony, Jurassic World, Camp Cretaceous, Stillwater, Invincible, and more recently, Fairly Odd Parents, A New Wish, and X-Men 97. She's also worked as a casting director for, of course, as I said before, Nickelodeon, where she worked on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Barnyard, Back of the Barnyard, sort of that franchise. And she's also worked on a lot of DC projects as well, like DC animated projects as casting director as well. And she was also a production coordinator on the SpongeBob movie from 2004. My guest is Meredith Layne. Hi, Meredith.
Hello. Hi, Amber.
How are you
Good to
doing
be here.
today?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm great, honestly. Like just looking at your this lineup of shows that you've done is just absolutely incredible. First of
Thank you.
all, I want to ask, um, that obviously a lot of people I know have worked on these projects, so I just want to really, well, I want to start it off by asking, of course, I can't go without asking this. How did you get your start in working for television, sort of doing the voice directing, casting, directing, anything like that?
I was an actor.
Oh, were you?
Um,
Oh, wow. Okay.
yeah, I went to school. I have a degree in theater with an emphasis in acting directing.
Mm-hmm.
And I fell into a casting internship in my senior year of college, and I've been working in casting ever since. And live action and animation, TV and film, I'm kind of going back and forth between all the different
Yeah.
areas. And then directing kind of came about while I was at Nickelodeon. I had some opportunities to be in the directing chair, and I found that I really enjoyed it. And so I kind of moved in that direction. It was not something I was looking for, but it kind of found me, and it seems between that and casting, it's been the right direction for me.
Awesome. Well, I've got to ask, what does a casting director usually do? Do they usually find the talent or decide who plays who? I know what a voice director does, obviously. I know a lot of them. But like I'm not really sure what a casting director usually does. Do they choose the people who they think will be good for the roles, or what does the casting director
A
do?
casting director's job is to you look at the material, determine the
Yeah.
different needs of the characters, you talk to the creative team and find out what do they see? How do they see these characters? Are there anything vocally specific that they're looking for? What are the personalities? And then we put out the auditions. We put out the casting call for the characters, or we're making lists of talent for suggestions. We do auditions. We run the audition session. If you're doing auditions in person, we run that. We direct the actors in the booth during the audition process.
Ooh.
We do what's called pre-reads, which is we get all the auditions and we sort through them and we pick the ones that we think are the best for a given role. And then we present all those to our producers or creators, and together we come up with the final cast. So it's our job to find the talent, to present the talent, and to kind of help people the world that we're all creating.
Awesome. Now, I've got to know you did most of the casting director work on DC movies, so like Batman and stuff, and notably Kevin Conroy voiced Batman in those. So obviously, how did you decide, like, obviously you're going to get him as Batman, or was it already put in place that, okay, Kevin's voicing Batman in this film?
Well, with the DC stuff, Andrea Romano was the voice director on all those projects, and so I was just helping her to by casting. But
Sorry.
with those projects, um, it was kind of like which version of Batman are they doing?
Yeah.
Because there's
Mm-hmm.
so many different versions of Batman. So it was dependent on which version of Batman they were aiming for within that project, and then whether that was let's go to Kevin for this one, or whether they were looking to bring somebody new in as the voice, or to go to one of the other actors who have previously established the role. So that was very much driven by Warner's,
Ah, right.
depending on again what version of the character they were working with for that property.
Yeah, yeah, of course. Gotta mention Andrea. She signed, this is her signature on my headphones.
Ah, very nice.
But
Andrea's great.
I know, yeah, it's a very funny story that when I video chatted her over GalaxyCon a few years back, she loved my headphones so much she bought a pair of her own. So these,
I could
and
see
that,
that.
yeah. So and that, well, I had a different pair on at the time, so she ordered some new ones, and then my pair broke, so I ordered some new ones, not knowing it was the same pair she had. So technically, yeah, unintentionally twins. I love it. So yeah, honestly, that is on. You've done a lot in the industry. I'm jealous, envious.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So of course, working at Nickelodeon, I've been there. It's a very fun place. I presume, what's it like to work there? I've got to ask.
Well, I was there for 13 years, so it was obviously a good place to be
Mm-hmm.
if I stayed that long.
Yeah.
I was part of the on-staff casting team there, so we would usually be working on five, sometimes six shows a piece. So, but we were a very small team, and we kind of did all the talent related. We would do the casting, recording, scheduling, booking, payroll. We kind of handled all of that regarding the recording sessions and the talent needs for the shows.
Wow, that sounds very, very cool. And
Yes.
you've just returned to direct Fairly Odd Parents: A New Wish. So what's it been like working on that then, voice directing everybody?
It's been great. It's been really great. I still know a lot of people there, the engineers I've worked with for many, many years, and it's nice to see them and you know, it's still very much family, and it's nice to see them every once in a while and uh, working with the cast. I was not involved with the show originally, but it's been great to work with Suzanne and Darren and any of the other original cast members who are coming back, and then you know Ashley and the new cast members as well, and kind of bringing those
Yeah.
to a new generation. It's been great.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Honestly, like again, you've done so much. I have no idea where to start, so I'm just gonna jump over to another area. Invincible, you worked on as voice director. Now, I
Yes.
believe it wasn't just you, there was another guy who voice directed it.
Season one was directed by somebody else, and I was
Oh,
brought in season two.
so was it you and someone else, or was it just you for season two?
Just me.
All right then. Well, I have a question for you. What was it like voice directing Peter Cullen for season two of Invincible?
Peter's amazing. I mean, he is a pro and he doesn't need a lot of direction. It's just kind of guiding him through the script and maybe giving context and you know, obviously if you're not aware of the entire Invincible world, some of those
Mm-hmm.
lines could be a little unusual. So just Simon Rasiopa, who's the EP, and often Robert Kirkman were in the room with me. So we're all kind of helping Peter uh guide him through some of the plot and
Wow.
and uh, uh, and explaining the kind of larger context of the show for him. But he doesn't need a lot of direction. He kind of comes in, gives you a couple. He likes to do three in a row, and he does multiple takes. And you're like, okay, great, it's moving on. And
I
it's Peter
presume this.
Cullen, so
Yeah, yeah. Obviously, you can't do much about that. I presume this was all recorded on set at a studio.
he was in studio. We were all remote.
Oh right, okay. What studio was it? Was it like because it's an Amazon original, I believe. I'm not sure who's behind Invincible.
It is Amazon. They primarily use a studio in Burbank called Dave and Dave. If the actors are in LA, in the Burbank area, they typically use that studio. And then, I mean, it kind of depends on where the actor is located, or if they have a home studio. So we use a lot of different studios on that show, but that's kind of our primary.
Oh, that's really cool. Yeah. This is like very out of context, but I've got to ask you, have
Okay.
you ever been to the smokehouse in Burbank?
I have.
Everyone I know's been there. Like I went
I
there
mean,
when I was last in town. It's just so awesome.
yeah, I mean, it's a historical institution in this town. You have to go.
I just like I talk to everyone and they're like, "Have you been to the smokehouse?" I'm like, "Yeah, I was invited there, and I just went there. The desserts are to die for. They are beautiful. Like honestly, just wow, what a thing." Yeah, and obviously you've been to the Warner Brothers lot, I believe.
Yes. Yes, I
Yeah,
have.
I've been there. Honestly, just like everywhere in Burbank is just so magical. It's like straight out of a fairy tale.
Oh, absolutely. It's everything you expect it's going to look like, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah.
Is there an actor that you've worked with that you've been so starstruck by that you've had to voice direct and you're trying to keep your composure? Is there anyone that you've, should I say, fangirled over voice
Oh,
directed?
I mean, sure. I mean, I worked with Bill Nye on Castlevania, and it was kind of like he doesn't need my direction. It's Bill Nye, or um no, it's exciting to work with all of them because I'm just a fan of actors. And so it's always, there's those that come in, you're like, I don't know what kind of note I'm going to give them because they're so good. But yeah, I don't know if I could single one out, but there's been times where it's like, yes, absolutely. You're like, okay, I'll try to give them a note. Let's see, and hope I don't sound like an idiot.
Now, Bill Nye's getting a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. So they've just
Oh, is
announced that the
he?
other day. Yeah, they've just announced that the other day. Yeah,
Wait,
there's a
who's
few
who's
people.
Bill?
Nye.
Oh, Bill, he is getting one. Okay.
Yeah. He's getting one. It was just announced, I think, yesterday. I think I'm not sure when the whole ceremony thing's gonna be, but
Yeah.
oh man, I need to get back. I need to get back into town. Oh man, like I just ignore me. So of course, I have to mention I am a huge fan of this show. X-Men 97, that's how I discovered you. Um,
Yes.
so were you the casting director for that as well, or were you just the voice director?
Casting director as well.
Wow, okay, right. This is a lot to uncover because of course they brought back, well, I mean, essentially you brought back a lot of the original stars from the X-Men animated series.
Hmm.
So what take me through the process of that. How did it sort of go about? Was it your decision to bring them back, and how did you have to go recasting some roles that had voice actors who had either passed on or just simply recast because for reasons unknown. I don't know.
That was part of Marvel's direction. That was the decision on the creative side of this is the show they were making. The show they were
Okay.
making was a continuation of the 90s series. And so the first thing we're going to do was revisit the primary cast from the original series. Um, and obviously we have a few that have passed on. We have a
Yeah,
few that
I was gonna ask.
we've moved into
Yeah,
other roles. So it was yeah.
I was going to ask, yeah, when did the sort of production or casting of X-Men 97 start? Because I know Norm Spencer, who voiced Cyclops in the original, passed in 2020, so I didn't know if this had started before he died or after he died.
After. It was not long after, actually.
Oh,
It was
wow.
yeah, because we started the show probably in 2020 or 2021. So it was fairly recently after he passed that we started casting on
Wow.
the show.
Wow, that is
Yeah.
crazy. And then of course you've got the originals, you've got Cal Dodd, you've got George Boozer, Lenore Zahn. But then like you've got some newcomers as well. Now I've got to ask, of course, um Jean Grey was recast with Jennifer Hale.
Hmm.
Gambit recast by with AJ Lucasia, and a few others along those lines. What was sort of the reasons, if you're okay with saying, the reasons behind these castings? Even though like their actors, for Catherine Disher and Chris Potter, are in the show playing other roles. If that makes sense, if I've explained
It
it in the
does make
best.
sense. Yeah, I'm not sure how much I can discuss, but I think ultimately the decision was that they were better served in these other roles
Mhm.
than in the original. And truthfully, I think they're both amazing in the roles they're currently playing. And I think I think it just serves the show better that they're in the roles that they are.
Yeah,
And yeah, it's very definitely a matter of what was best cohesively for the
yeah.
cast and for the
Hmm.
sound of the show. And I think, both Chris and Catherine have been so amazing in these new roles in the show. And so
Yeah, because
I
I
think
was.
all things happen for a reason, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, I was speaking to Lawrence Bain the other day, the original voice of Cable, and I was because he now plays Executioner, and he
Hmm.
was like, "I was wondering why they didn't bring me back as Cable." And I said, "I don't know, I can't answer that for you. I'm really sorry." But he's just said, it was a blast working on the original show as well as the reboot. So I find that really cool. It's like kind of mixing in. It's because the original was all Canadian actors, and this one is
Hmm.
like a mix of Canadian and American actors. It's like best of both worlds essentially. I mean, I was at the the after party in a way. Well, I wasn't at the premiere because I wasn't really I wasn't given an invite because I'm not in that sort of publicity circle. um so I was like, probably not going to catch anyone outside. We'll just put it off now. I returned back to the Roosevelt where I was staying. That's where the after party was. So
Yes, I was there. It was
were you? Oh my
yeah.
gosh! So essentially, I crossed paths with pretty much everyone from the cast, and I didn't even realize. I only really recognized the people who I knew who were really just Jennifer, JP Carliak, and Ray Chase and Isaac
Hmm.
Robinson Smith. Everyone else, I can't believe I didn't recognize. I feel bad for not recognizing. I'm like,
It was a last minute thing. There was nothing planned. It was just kind of like after the screening, everybody kind of went, "We're going to the Roosevelt," and it just became this little pilgrimage down the street to the hotel, and I don't think they were prepared for us. There were an awful lot of people kind of descended on that hotel that evening, and I don't think they were ready for that many people to
that
come.
is
But
crazy. It would have been
yeah.
so good to be there. It'd be really good to go to the. I wonder what the see if would there be a premiere for season two? Because honestly, I would love to put my name in for that. It would be just so cool just to hang out with everyone.
Yeah, I honestly don't know. I mean, season two is a ways away, but premiere. But I honestly don't know what their plans will be. I
Who
find out
knows?
about things as last minute as everybody else. So
Right.
I'm not privy to anything special in advance,
That's okay.
unfortunately.
That's okay. That's okay. That's okay. Going back to Nickelodeon, I want to talk to you about the SpongeBob movie. Now, what exactly does a production coordinator do?
Okay, well, on that movie, I had my friend Aaron was the line producer on the movie, and
Mm-hmm.
um, so I went on to work production with him, and basically what I did was kind of help keep everything organized. I did travel for the crew when they were going, like they went to Abbey Road to score the movie. I did their
Ooh.
travel. I arranged meetings and
Mm-hmm.
coordinated. They needed to get props from this house or that house. I would coordinate this kind of stuff. So it's literally coordinating. It was coordinating
Yeah.
the crew and where
Mm-hmm.
they need to be and when they need to be there and making sure there were snacks in the office. And
Awesome.
yes, that was a very big responsibility. Um, and honestly, the experience of being a production manager told me I needed to get back into casting because it was kind of a year break from casting, and I was
Yeah.
like, no, I got to get back into my casting. That production is not for me. There are
Yeah.
other people who are much better at this than I am.
Yeah. Yeah. Is there, though this is probably going to be hard for you to answer, is there a favorite show that you've worked on or favorite shows?
Well, I mean, favorite shows, yes. I will always mention Castlevania because Castlevania kind of changed my career.
Mm-hmm.
It had after years at Nickelodeon, people were seeing me as somebody who could only do a certain type of project.
Yeah.
And Castlevania opened a lot of doors for me and kind of changed my career. And if I hadn't done Castlevania, I probably would not have done X-Men. Uh, because Bo DeMeo, who was the EP on the series, had been a big fan of Castlevania. I had worked with him on Studio Mir's Witcher anime,
Yeah.
and then when X-Men came up, I had worked with our line producer Sean Genka and Dana Vasquez Eberhardt had both come from Nickelodeon with me. So I knew a bunch of people who were working on X-Men, and that's how I got
Mm.
into X-Men. But I mean, I love working on X-Men. I'm very, very proud of Blood of Zeus. Obviously Invincible is a big one. So it's but that's kind of the turning point in my career where I was looked at differently and given
Yeah.
opportunity to different types of properties.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so yeah. So
Awesome.
that
That's
was
a really good answer. Yeah, yeah. Honestly, like X-Men 97, magical
yeah.
show, terrific, spectacular, outstanding. This is unrelated. Have you ever voice directed or worked with Frank Welker? Of course, you've worked with Peter Cullen. Just wanted to know if you worked with Frank Welker as well.
I'm working with Frank in the near future. Actually, he's on the schedule, but I have not worked with him as of yet.
Oh wow. Okay, right. Okay. I have no, I'm not. I was gonna say I have a thought of what show that could be, but then I just thought about it and I was like, no, that can't be possible. That's an entirely different company. So I don't know, but honestly, I'm so excited for you. Honestly.
Yeah.
Like, wow. Oh my gosh, you're gonna work with Frank Welker. um, my head's gone blank. Just
Okay.
just give me one
Fine.
second. Um, what would you say your proudest achievement is so far? And I think I might know what it might be.
Proudest achievement. That's a
Mhm.
tough question. Um,
I have an answer in mind. I'm not sure if it's the same as yours.
well, I mean, I could say winning the very first Emmy given for animation daytime casting.
Wow.
I
Okay.
could say that.
That was not what I had in mind. I didn't.
Um,
Wow. When did you win that and what was it for? What show?
I won that for Penguins of Madagascar,
Oh wow.
for
Awesome.
Nickelodeon, and that would have been, oh my God, what year was that? Early 2000s. Um, that's
Wow.
terrible that I can't remember what year it was. That's really
I think
embarrassing.
Penguins of Madagascar was around 2013, 14, maybe.
Yeah, yeah, that sounds
Probably,
about
yeah.
right. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Because I didn't. Well, I know they
Uh,
did one for voice directing, but not for casting.
yeah, casting, that was actually because I was on the board of governors for the TV Academy for the casting peer group at the time, and they were working on getting an Emmy for daytime television animation casting, which we've never had recognition for that. And
Ooh.
we finally got it, and I was nominated that year both for Penguins and for Fanboy and Chum Chum.
Wow. Oh, yeah, because you worked
And
on Fanboy and Chum Chum too.
yeah, and we won for Penguins of Madagascar. So that was
Wow.
very exciting.
So you had
Um,
two opportunities.
yeah, that year, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But that is
Um,
awesome, though. That is
yeah,
really cool.
yeah,
Hmm.
and just getting that recognition for casting is pretty huge. That's
Yeah,
very exciting. We are
yeah,
often not considered, um, what we do and what we contribute is not always thought of, and so it was very
yeah.
exciting to have that recognition happen for that role in productions.
Cool.
But what were
Wow.
you thinking?
I was thinking your proudest achievement was Castlevania. It's just how it's just changed your career completely and just how it got you into doing X-Men 97 and stuff like that. So I was just like, oh, that's probably just gonna go in my head. That's not the answer. Okay.
Yeah.
um, so working with children, I presume you've obviously had child actors work on your projects. I
Mhm.
always ask voice directors this. How hard is it, or would you say it is hard to direct child actors compared to adults?
Well, it does depend on the child, and it
Mm-hmm.
depends on the age. You know,
Mm-hmm.
if I've directed as young as 3,
Wow.
and a 3-year-old basically was sitting in, she sat in her dad's lap in the mic, in front of the mic, and just mimicked what I would say. I would say a line, and she would just say it back, um, and I think up till a certain age, you're really just kind of a lot of those you might be just doing line reads. Um, if the child is a very good reader, they're a little more, they can kind of work more on their own and bring different reads to it. And the older they get, the little more you can step back and let them, when you're getting like into late teens, obviously they
Yeah.
they bring their own stuff to it, but it really depends on the age of the kid, how mature they are,
Mm-hmm.
and how good of a reader they are. Those things can all kind of come into play in the booth. And but yeah, I've done several preschool shows with kids in it, And it's interesting to watch as they get older too, and they start to age out of the roles they're in, which is always unfortunate. But particularly with the boys, as their voices start to change. But with girls, it's less about the voice change and more about the personality change.
Yeah, yeah, I have noticed that. Yeah, wow, that's a really interesting insight. Thank you, Meredith.
Yeah.
Now, my final question to you, Meredith.
Okay.
Right, okay, this is very important. Okay, what is your favorite color?
My favorite color.
Yeah,
Green?
good choice, good choice. I
Okay.
was gonna say, I always ask people that I just want to see if they have the same as me, and just it just depends. And like, I mean, I like all of them, but I have a soft spot for yellow.
Okay. Yellow's a good one.
Yeah. Yeah, of course, honestly. Meredith, what can I say? It's been a huge honor to be in your presence, and I feel very
Thank you.
lucky that I'm honestly because it's taken a little while to set up because you've been so busy and stuff, but honestly, to see it all come together now has just really warmed my heart. So thank you so, so much, Meredith.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So, to you at home, thank you so much for watching this episode of In Conversation with ATF with the lovely Meredith Layne. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did recording it. Take care. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, stay happy, and we'll see you soon. Take care. I know I said that already, but I don't care. Bye and cut.